Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 17th of July. I want to talk about getting the bride ready for full disclosure. Now, obviously, getting the bride ready is the biblical way of putting it. Full disclosure would be the more modern way of putting it. It's the same thing. We're getting to know something. We will know something. And I tell you, once it happens, it will be a solid knowing. They are coming here. They will become a solid reality. You will have to deal with a solid reality. It's not going to be also spiritual and energetic. That is what will create the solid reality. But what you will deal with is solid. Now, again, it's a question of what are we and what are they? Yeah? And should we know them? I mean, the bride is being made ready to know them. I show you this in the end, what they're doing. But should we know them? And what are we? Now, I was watching the Inspired Renegade this morning, and she was talking about the grass, and that it has got life, and it is spirit. Everything is creator. Everything that exists has a knowledge of itself, and others have a knowledge of it. That's what's creating its existence. Being known. To know and being known is what creates existence. So, and that reminded me of an experiment that was done that showed that plants have emotional reactions, yeah? And I think what they did is they had a plant in the room and they had somebody going in giving that plant dog's abuse, being really nasty to it. And then another person went in that would be speaking to the plant in a loving manner. Of course, the words don't actually matter. It is the energy that you are conveying that the plant picks up on. It's not the words, it's the energy. So then when the first person came back into the room, the plant somehow recoiled. Yeah, there was a feeling of fear. She remembered that person and its energy, and she recoiled, and the plant recoiled from it. Now, first of all, yes, that shows that everything here has life. Yeah? It means that everything is aware to some extent of its surroundings and of itself. For the plant to see something or experience something as negative, it would be according to itself. And here's the really important part, and that is when as I said, the man went in and was really nasty, gave the plant dog's abuse. That was according to a human being. Yeah, that is, if somebody would speak to me, I would think that's negative. The thing is, the plant was in agreement. It felt the same way about what was hurled toward it. So it feels like us. The knowledge of good and bad, it feels like us. And here is what I said before, what heaven is. Heaven are those that come together that feel the same way about things, that are compatible with each other, that are like each other. So in that way, this earth is a heaven, where those on every level, animal, plant, mineral, are in agreement, feel the same way about things. And I would say also that desire to experience themselves in life in solid matter. So then we are in agreement in this world. And it is really what Paul said, is in the midst of life, we are in death. We are surrounded by life. we are surrounded by life that feels like us in many ways that we could connect to and we don't. And that is, we are in death, we are not connected to the energies of life. We're looking somewhere else. We're looking somewhere else. We're not seeing what is right in front of us, what is all around us, what is inside of us, our own desire, and that it is reflected in others. They are not us, but they are basically of the same desire, so we can connect on that level. We're not seeing it. So we're looking for others, and we can, our knowing can spread out, connect to something that is not of this world. So, now I want to talk about Yahweh, and I was talking about Paul Wallace, talking about Yahweh. Now, the first thing, because he's working with Big Lino, and he is a linguist, so they're talking about the name Yahweh, and that this name does not have a root in this world. Yeah, you cannot derive it from something else, either in Hebrew or in Egyptian or any other. It does not have a root, it's just a foreign word, that name. And so you cannot derive any knowledge of Yahweh by looking at the name. And it's funny, it's the same thing that Faust actually says in Goethe's Faust, when he asked Mephisto of his name. He said, you can derive a knowledge of what you lot are by your name. So again, with Yahweh you can't do that. So then that's funny, because Paul Wallace said, well then you would need to look at what that thing is doing to get knowledge of what it is. And here Jesus said you would know them by the Spirit. And I'm saying again what Paul Wallace says, you know it by the outcome. You would be better to know them by the Spirit before you have to deal with the outcome. But, okay. Definitely know them by the outcome. So now Paul Wallace is talking about this story in the Bible. Now, I have not read that, nor was I aware of that story. I'm now going on trust that that is what it actually says. If it doesn't, please let me know. But there is a point where Yahweh is commanding King David to go to war again with one thing or another. He's very fond of war. And David went and counted his troops, which displeased Yahweh no end. And here is, there should be blind obedience. The fact that David went and counted his troops, that is to say, he had to reassure himself according to his own knowing, displeased Yahweh. And what Yahweh did is he killed 70,000 of David's troops there and then. Killed 70,000 people, men, simply to prove a point. And that is not human. That is not human. So, there you know him by the outcome. You know what he is by the outcome. Again, going back, and again I'm going by what Paul Wallace is saying, there were others that came, that brought knowledge. They didn't come to conquer, but they brought knowledge. They didn't come to rule over, but to bring knowledge that would aid humanity. There was one goddess, and I've forgotten her name now. She brought the knowledge of animal husbandry and agriculture and things like that, which aided humanity. Now, her temples and her places of worship were destroyed, and the knowledge of her was wiped off the face of this earth, or she was made to be the evil one. You don't go there. You go to hell. You must follow this one God. Again, destruction of knowledge to knowing only the one, and then he is the only one because that's all you know. And that was worked. So this is where we're at now. And now let me get back to the bride is being made ready. Right now you can see what is happening. You can see it clearly on the internet. I can see it. What is allowed to go forward. What is being promoted by the algorithms. And that is the denial of self. We must deny ourselves. We must, as Jesus said, hate your father and mother. If you want to be my disciple, if you want to go to that other place, you need to hate your mother and father. That God will detach you from your family. It will take you out of the natural flow of energy that is sustaining you. It will take you out of that which you are energetically a part of. Yeah? So until you do not know yourself, and then you can be reformed into something else. Once others, it's coming from all angles. It's coming from those idiots that are sitting there, I am all. Again, that is disintegrating of knowing what you are. I'm going into all. Even Bruce Lipton, going, we're evolving the way of the butterfly. We must completely disintegrate. We must deny what we are. We must fall completely to pieces to be rebuilt. As I said, it's coming from all angles, and even those, I say, like Paul Wallace, that can see, that there were beings in that book that are definitely not human, inhumane actually in their actions, shouldn't be worshipped, definitely shouldn't be worshipped, but they're still holding on to Jesus, But he is the door. He is the door to that kingdom, and you can deny it, and you can badmouth anything you like in that book as long as you keep the doorway. They're still coming through, so it doesn't matter. Oh, he was one of them. He was absolutely one of them. But here we go, that is through the denial of self. The bride is being made ready. Not knowing herself, being completely confused about herself. Some of them do it deliberately. They want to destroy themselves, to be part of that. That is their choice. Again, Jesus gave a choice. You can go on that way. But, they're not just making the choice for themselves, are they? If they were, fine, go. If you're happier there, fine, go. But they're preparing the entire world to accept what is coming through us not knowing what we actually are. And most of the world does not understand what is happening to them and what is happening around them. And that is not on. That's deception. And that is not on. And I say the only way why they have to prepare the bride in that way is because something is coming that we would not accept if we were of sound mind. If we were at sound discernment based on what we are, saying I am and discern from there, we would not accept that. So the I am that we are must be destroyed for the other thing to come in. And that's what's happening at the moment. Again, as I say, what we are is we are human in this world. We have a feeling of good and bad. We have the desire to be connected. We have the desire to share. we have the desire to be a part of something else. But as I said, there's a knowing of good and bad, how far we can go in order to create that desire, to experience that desire. And again, it would appear that most other forms of life in this world have the same idea about good and bad as the plant experiment showed. And there was a time when man knew that, or at least parts of humanity knew that. They knew that everything had spirit. And they knew that the animals and that the trees and everything else were their brothers. They knew that. And that is what we need to know again, and then know ourselves in this. Know yourself as that which has a desire to be connected to this. To be in this brotherhood of spirit that is not just human. So, as I said, first of all, making ready for full disclosure. That's not going to be full disclosure. That has been disclosure of one possibility, and you're being made ready for that. There are others. And for humanity to be ready for any kind of disclosure of others means we need to know what we are, so we can stay firm and we can have discernment of good and bad when it comes to knowing others. Yeah? So we're not, first of all, falling flat on our face, worshipping whatever comes through. And we cannot be deceived in other ways through, for instance, they're bringing you great technology. It's going to be so good for humanity. Yeah? Know what is actually good for you. Yeah? Stuff like that. We need to be ready for any kind of disclosure. We need to stand, we need to stand firm in what we are. We need to know what we are, and we need to understand what we are. And then we're ready. And we can do this with discernment, intelligently. As I said, that is not how the bride is being made ready at the moment. At the moment, the bride is being completely disintegrated. Her I am, the I am of humanity, is being completely destroyed. And the reason for that is because something is coming that if we were firm in what we are, we would be in no way, shape or form in agreement with that. And here is the last thing why I say Jesus was one of them. He showed the way of how to, the denial of self, of how this can be done, that a human being forgets what it is. And in that, and he brought that knowledge to that heaven, and it serves them. There is the doorway in. And as long as you hold on to Jesus, you can, shout about Yahweh and all the others all you like, as long as you keep the doorway standing there. They will still come through. He was one of them. Their favorite son, their favorite knowledge. So no, I'm sorry, you can't keep him. That will not work. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.